But let's see our discussion. Today is 27th November. Just 1 minute, no ink in the pen.
না ক্লাস হচ্ছে, ক্লাস করে নি 1 ঘন্টা,
Okay,
1
let's
ঘন্টা
start.
তো বেশিই হবে।
27th November. Now, I already told you that there are several different type of
Sir,
applications.
স্যার পেজটাকে একটু ক্যামেরার থেকে একটু দূরে রাখবেন, তাহলে একটু মানে পেজটা খুব জুমড হয়ে আছে।
Zoomed হয়ে আছে না?
হ্যাঁ,
দাঁড়াচ্ছি। আমি আবার এখন আমাকে একটু বলো।
ওকে স্যার, এটাই ঠিক। আর এক ধাপ জুম আউট করে দিন, তাহলে ঠিক হয়ে যাবে।
একদম আচ্ছা। আজকে আবার অন্য সেটিং, কলকাতায় নেই, অন্য জায়গা থেকে করছি, সেই জন্য সেটিংটা চেঞ্জ হলো কি। দেখো তো
ঠিক
দেখা
আছে স্যার,
যাচ্ছে?
ওকে স্যার, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে স্যার।
ঠিক আছে।
স্যার আপনার পুরো স্ক্রিনটাই অনেক ছোট দেখাচ্ছে, বলছে ব্যান্ডউইথ লো।
স্ক্রিনটা ছোট দেখাচ্ছে?
হ্যাঁ ওটা স্যার আমাদের নিজেদের নেটের সমস্যা, ওটা আপনার কিছু না। মানে দেখাচ্ছে ইওর নেটওয়ার্ক ব্যান্ডউইথ ইজ, মানে
না
আমাদের
স্যারের টাওয়ারটাও দেখ লাল হয়ে আছে।
হ্যাঁ ওটা আমাদের সমস্যা রে, ওটা স্যারের কোনো সমস্যা না, স্যারের সমস্যা ঠিক আছে, স্যারের কোনো অসুবিধা নেই।
দেখে নাও আবার, আমি চাই সবার কাছে ঠিকঠাক পৌঁছোক, তাতে 1
না
মিনিট
স্যার,
2 মিনিট।
এখন আপনারটা ঠিক, হ্যাঁ আপনারটা ঠিকই আছে। ও অহন ঠিকই বলছে, আপনারটা ঠিকই আছে।
চলো তাহলে। So I already told you that there are different type of applications of PMMC instruments. Galvanometer. Okay. So I already gave one material to you on the ballistic galvanometer. Just I will discuss it, okay, in short. And ballistic galvanometer, I'll discuss it in short. Okay. Now, what is a ballistic galvanometer? It is one instrument which is used to measure a charge of short duration. Okay, so when a current flows through a coil only for a while, just for a small time, then the total amount of charge that passed over that duration will be measured by this ballistic galvanometer. So it does not measure any current, it measures the charge only. But note that it measures only a transient charge. It measures a transient charge or a charge that has passed over a short duration. Over a short duration. Now, it is assumed that the time during which the charge passes is quite small. The time duration is quite small. Okay, and the time is so small that the ballistic galvanometer cannot start its deflection within that small time. Okay, so the deflection will start only after the passage of charge is complete. Okay, so that is one thing. So it is already given to your material. If you just read it side by side, you'll get it. I already, whatever I'm telling it now, it's already given to your material, nothing new. That's why I am not writing anything here. Okay, I am not writing anything here. Now, the thing is that, so how we can make the time period small, how to assess that? What is the small time during which a charge can flow only? The thing is that what actually we do, uh, we increase the natural time period of oscillation for the galvanometer. What is the natural time period of oscillation? We know our omega n equal to 2 pi by T0. T0 is the natural time period of oscillation. Natural time period of oscillation for the ballistic galvanometer. Okay, and omega n is the natural angular frequency, you already know. Now, what is omega n? Omega n is root over c by a, we know. Therefore, our T0 equal to 2 pi into root over a by c. So we want to make T0, okay, it is the undamped, I should write, it is the natural means undamped. The word natural already means undamped. We need not write undamped separately. Okay, how to make it large? Okay, want to make it large, sufficiently high. Why? If the time period is sufficiently large, then the instrument will be relatively sluggish in nature. It will be slow in response. So, once the charge starts flowing, immediately it cannot start its oscillation, its movement, deflection. Okay, so when the passage of charge is complete, then only it will start its deflection, its oscillation. So that's why you want T0 to be sufficiently high. How we can make it high? Okay, we can make it high in two ways. One is we can make C small, that is the control constant, and the inertia constant, it can be made large. So we can make A relatively higher and C smaller. Then our T0 can be increased in that particular way. Okay. Now, how we can decrease our C? We can decrease our C. It is by lowering the thickness of the suspension arrangement. Okay. Then, if it is, then the spring constant, the stiffness constant of the suspension arrangement will be smaller. And how we can make A large? We can make A large by attaching some small weights to the moving system. Means we are increasing the mass of the system or the moment of inertia of the system, and therefore our A, which is basically the inertia constant or moment of inertia, that will increase, and therefore finally our T0 will increase. Okay, and the thing is that we want that there will be a heavily underdamped system. So our delta will be much smaller than 1. Why? Because if it is an underdamped, heavily underdamped system, then the first swing of the instrument will be quite high. Means after a passage of charge is complete, it will begin to grow, the oscillation will set in. The first amplitude of oscillation will be, or the first swing will be quite large. After that, it will go on oscillating this way and slowly it will damp out. Slowly it will damp out. But the first swing can be made large, okay, by making the instrument heavily underdamped. Heavily underdamped. That's why our delta is made sufficiently small. Now, why we want to make first swing small, first swing large? Because I'll show you later that the first swing of oscillation, we call it θ1, first swing of oscillation, it is proportional to the amount of charge that has passed through the instrument coil. So θ1 is proportional to the Q, the total amount of charge passed. So from the measurement of first swing θ1, we can assess the amount of charge that has passed through the coil. That's why we want to make θ1 large, so that we can get the reading very easily. Sensitivity of the instrument can be made quite high, therefore. Okay. But the thing is that after we get the first swing, we get the information of the charge, and then there is no need to allow the oscillation to continue thereafter. Then what we do, we apply electromagnetic damping thereafter. How? If we reduce the coil circuit resistance, or then G square by R will increase. So the instrument now will be heavily damped, and then it will attain steady state quicker. It will attain steady state quicker. It will not oscillate anymore. So after we get the first swing, we apply electromagnetic damping, okay, by reducing coil circuit resistance, okay, and then we get the steady state quicker. There will be no more oscillation after that. And note that for this instrument, the steady state deflection is 0. Okay, steady state deflection is 0. Why it is 0? Our theta f is 0. Because finally there is no current flowing through the instrument coil. Only some charge is flowing for a short while. Okay, after that there is no charge, nothing. Since there is no steady state current applied to the instrument, the steady state deflection is 0. Okay, after some time, nothing will be there. Okay, so that is the ballistic galvanometer. In principle, it is a D'Arsonval type of galvanometer with certain modifications. These are the modifications. A is made higher, C is made smaller, it is heavily underdamped, all this type of thing. Electromagnetic damping is applied later after the first swing is found. So then we can apply it as a ballistic galvanometer. Now we want to see some mathematics of ballistic galvanometer. Although I will not go into the derivation of the mathematics, I will just bring the equations only. Just I will proceed for solution only for few steps. Then I will refer to the material and will get our final equation, final solution, final expression. So now we want to see the system dynamics, the equation of system dynamics of the instrument. First, we assume that a charge Q is allowed to pass, okay, through ballistic galvanometer during t equal to 0 to t equal to some tq, okay, for which a current I, okay, current I flows through the coil, okay. Obviously, our I is dq dt. Our I is dq dt. So rate of flow of charge with respect to time. That is our current. Now, what is the equation therefore? Our equation is A d2 theta dt2, just like a normal PMC instrument equation, plus b d theta dt plus ci equal to g into I. Clear? And I is dq dt, we already know. Therefore, we can write it. Okay, it is equal to g into dq dt. Now we integrate it. So integrating, okay, between t equal to 0 to t equal to tq. So we integrate it, a d theta dt. After integration of second derivative, what we get? Second derivative becomes first derivative after integration. Plus b theta. So it is t equal to 0 to t equal to tq, plus c. It is integration theta dt, t equal to 0 to t equal to tq. It is g into q. Note that there is no deflection, okay, of the instrument during the passage of charge. There is no deflection during the flowing of the charge. Therefore, theta 0 equal to 0, that is at t equal to 0 is 0, and theta tq, that is also is 0. Okay. So ultimately what happens? This part, that is 0. We know this is 0. And since the value of theta is 0 in that thing, the integration is also 0. Okay. So only the thing is that it will be A d theta dt, okay, equal to GQ at T equal to TQ. Now you may sometimes you may be surprised that how it is possible that the deflection is 0 during that interval, but its derivative is not 0. How this is possible? That I can show you also very easily. If you remember one known result already. Now I go to the next page and I will tell you how this is possible. So page number 2 now. Consider one sine wave. Say a sine wave. I am plotting it. Say a sine omega t versus t. So what is the value of sine omega t? Sine omega t at t equal to 0 is 0. But what is the derivative of sine omega t? At t equal to 0. It is actually, we know it is omega cos omega t after derivative t equal to 0. This value is what? Omega 0 is cos 0 is 1, so it is omega. So derivative of the sine wave is not 0 because there is a maximum rate of rise. Derivative means rate of rise. So rate of rise is maximum, but the value is 0. So this is not surprising. Just if you see on the other way around, the plot of cos omega t, what is that? For a cosine function, its derivative is 0. Okay. So derivative is 0, but the value is not 0. Value not equal to 0. Here what happens here? Here value equal to 0 and derivative not equal to 0. So the value of a function and derivative of a function, they are not directly connected, not connected in a straightforward manner. It is highly possible. Here also same thing. When a charge has just flown, the passage of charge is complete, then the instrument does not find enough time to attain any deflection. So at theta equal to dq also it is 0. Theta equal to at t equal to 0 it is 0 because at the time charge is not also flowing. Just the charge is about to flow. It's going to flow, not yet flowing.
Sir.
So no energy input is there. Theta 0 is
You
0.
know that, sir,
Hmm?
বলছি ইনিশিয়ালি তো থিটা 0 থাকছে, সাইনের ক্ষেত্রে কি ইনিশিয়ালি তো একটা ভ্যালু থাকে, যখন 0 তে আসে তখন 0 থাকে, তাহলে ডেরিভেটিভ কি করে ওটার মানে এটার
ক্ষেত্রে ইনিশিয়ালি 0 নয়, আমি যদি ধরে নিই যে আমি এখানে সুইচ অন করেছি তাহলে তুমি বলবে 0, but we consider one observer who is starting his or her observation much late. By this time the sine wave is progressive with a steady state value. In normal case, what happens in our normal power line, when we apply switching, we assume that it is t equal to 0. That time when at t equal to 0, when you just consider a sine wave, you'll see that it is not purely a sine wave, it is just about to grow. There are some transients. We have already studied the transient analysis of a network. So when you switch on any circuit, you will see that it is t equal to 0 because the initial energy applied to the system is 0. Before switching, no energy was input to the system. That's why it is 0. But even when a system has attained a steady state, then you assume that some observer starts observing. So with respect to the new observer, who starts observing much late, then there is no more transient at all in the system. Only a steady state sine wave is still flowing in the circuit. Then to the eyes of the observer, when he or she starts observing, then the t equal to 0 will be with respect to the new observer only. So at that time, with respect to the new observer at t equal to 0, the value of the sine wave is 0. But before the observer enters into the room or enters into the system, still the sine wave was there because somebody switched on the circuit much earlier, before the entry of the new observer. So sine wave was still flowing in the system, but to the eyes of the new observer, it is 0 at t equal to 0, and it was not 0 before t equal to 0. Get my point? It is still flowing. So that's why when we plot anything, normally we plot a steady state waveform, not a transient waveform. So this is the steady state waveform where we start our observation just midway, okay, from the zero crossing of the waveform at t equal to 0. That's why if you put a negative value for t, you'll see that sign of negative means some negative value is still there. Sign of negative is negative, so negative value is still there. Means the observer starts in observing the system at late instant. Get my point? Here also same thing at t equal to 0, when the system is switched on, okay, when the system is switched on, the value of the sine wave is 0. Okay, and so in our case, the observer does not enter late into the system. The observer starts observing the system at the instant of switching the circuit, at the instant of applying the current. So here, the observer is not late at all. Here t equal to 0 is same for the observer and same for the system also. So no initial input is found there for that thing. We apply current at t equal to 0 and observer starts observing at t equal to 0 also. So theta 0 equal to 0. After that, some charge is flowing and some current will be there for some duration, and there will be some energy input to the system, but the system cannot find enough time to start its oscillation. So that's why up to t equal to tq, there is no oscillation, and theta tq is 0. Okay. So the system is about to start its oscillation, but is not yet starting. Therefore, it is about to start. It has a tendency to start at t equal to tq when all the charge has passed. So that's why at t equal to tq, we get the first derivative equal to 0. Means the rate of rise is 0. And since there is a non-zero rate of rise, that's why from t equal to tq, we will find that the system will begin its oscillation. Only because there is a rate of rise. There is a tendency of beginning its oscillation at t equal to tq. So that's why at t equal to tq, its first derivative is not 0. Although the value of the function, value of the deflection is still 0. But when we wait for some more time, we'll see that yes, that theta is also not 0 after t equal to tq. It will grow with time. So it is only because the first derivative is not 0. There is a tendency to rise. The rate of rise is non-zero. The rate of rise is non-zero or first derivative is non-zero. So that's why just like the sine wave, I told you. So this is our equation actually. Okay. So we can write therefore that is finally our theta dot tq, it is equal to gq by a. Theta dot tq equal to gq by a. So that is our equation. Now whether I need to give an equation number or not, we'll see later. So now is there. So once we know that thing, next what happens? Now as the deflection begins to grow, okay, from 0, as the deflection begins to grow from t equal to tq onwards.
স্যার
Okay.
আপনার খাতার এই ডান দিকটা দেখা যাচ্ছে না।
Yes, you are right.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, এবার ঠিক আছে।
As the deflection begins to grow from t equal to tq onwards, okay, then what will be the graph of this theta? The graph of the theta is from t equal to 0 to up to tq, no deflection. After that, we will get some deflection. Whatever be the nature of the graph is not important right now. We'll see it later. So it will be there. So now from t equal to tq, the system will start its oscillation. Okay, therefore what we do, from t equal to tq, actually we place our new reference axis. So our new reference axis is placed here, okay, at t equal to tq. Then our new, okay, then our t equal to tq will be now replaced with respect to, therefore with respect to new reference axis. We want to analyze it now with a different equation then. With respect to the new reference axis, okay, the deflection begins to grow and t equal to tq then therefore is assumed to be t equal to 0 now. So with respect to new reference axis, we'll assume that it is our t equal to 0. So a new equation will be there from t equal to that new 0, t equal to 0. Okay. Therefore, what happens? Theta tq equal to 0 is now rewritten as theta 0 equal to 0. Now we want to start a new equation. Therefore, theta tq that I told you here, this theta tq equal to 0, now it will be called as theta 0 equal to 0. The original theta 0 equal to 0 is not required at all in our new equation. So it is theta 0 equal to 0. And theta dot tq equal to, what is theta dot tq? This gq by a. Now it is equal to gq by a is now rewritten as theta dot 0 equal to gq by a. So these are our some useful equations. So better I give some equation number then. So it is our equation 1, then it is equation 2, it is 3. Arbitrarily I'm writing, I don't know whether all this thing will be useful or not right now. So it is equation 5 this way. In your material, some different equation numbers are given, you can check. Okay. So it is that one. Now there is, note that with respect to new t equal to 0 onwards, there is no charge flowing anymore through the coil. Okay. Hence, there is no current. There is no current in the coil. As no more charge, the passage of charge is complete within t equal to tq. So no current is flowing. So our I is equal to 0. So our I equal to 0. So what will be our equation therefore? I write it in the next page, page number 3. Page number 3. So the equation then, the differential equation takes the form, which form? A d2 theta dt2 plus b d theta dt plus c theta equal to 0. Now we take Laplace transform. So a into s square, you know Laplace transform, s square theta s minus s theta 0 minus, or simply 0 also you can write, no problem. Theta 0 I am writing, minus not required, it is just before the instant of application, instant of occurrence of the reference axis. Then theta dot 0 plus, it is b into s theta s minus theta 0 plus c into theta s equal to 0. That is our equation. Now it is a into s square theta s minus, what is theta 0? Our theta 0, you see our equation number 4. Theta 0 is 0, no deflection at all with respect to the new reference axis. So it is s into 0 minus, what is theta dot 0? See the relation number 5. So it is gq by a. So it is therefore gq by a plus b into s theta s minus theta 0 is again 0 plus c into theta s equal to 0. So So refer equation number 4 and 5 for theta 0 and theta dot 0. Clear? Now, if we therefore simplify, we'll get a s square plus bs plus c into theta s equal to gq. Clear? gq. So our theta s equal to gq by a s square plus bs plus c. We divide it by a. So gq by a. So s square plus b by as plus c by a. Ultimately, what we do from that, I don't want to follow all the steps. It is given in the material. You will see the final equation. Finally, we get theta t. After taking inverse Laplace transform, we get theta t equal to aq into e to the power minus delta omega nt sine omega nt. Okay, where a capital A is g by a into omega n, and omega n is as usual root over c by a, natural angular frequency, and delta is the damping ratio, relative damping. Its expression is also exactly same, no change. So this is our equation. So if we see the response, it will look like, say it is our theta t. So it is this way. So at t equal to 0, we are getting 0 theta t. So at t equal to t1, we get its reflection is theta 1. Okay. At t equal to uh, t2, at that instant, the deflection is theta 2. At t equal to t3, it is theta 3. At t equal to t4, it is theta 4. This way it will proceed. Means, say if this is the pointer, it will be theta 1, then theta 2, theta 3, theta 4, theta 5, gradually. So this way. So the oscillation will damp down gradually. It will attain some steady value. Okay, but it will take much longer time to settle. It will go on oscillating for long and it will settle very later, much later time. Note that, therefore, now we want to find out what is the maximum value of deflection. Note that actually we want to find out the extremum value of deflection. Extremum means a maximum or minimum, local maximum or local minimum. So theta 1 is one extremum value, theta 2 another extremum value, theta 3 another, theta 4, theta 5, this way it will continue. So to have extremum values of theta t, okay, what we get? We will get that, obviously we can find out it's that correspond to sine wave. It will be what? It will be integral multiple of pi by 2. Odd integer, it will be pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, this way. For even multiple, it will be what? 0, pi, 2 pi, 4 pi. So it will be 0 crossing, will be always there. So I want to write it formally the next page, page number 4. So in the page number 4, it will be what? Therefore, we can write sine omega nt. See this expression, this sine omega nt, it will have a maximum value or extremum value. It must be equal to sine 2n plus 1 pi by 2, or our omega nt equal to 2n plus 1 pi by 2. Now I don't want to proceed. Our omega n equal to, we know 2 pi by t0. So finally we get our t equal to 2n plus 1. You will get things in the material, don't worry. These are given in a detailed step in the material. 2n plus 1 into T0 by 4. So T0 is the time period of oscillation. T0 is the time period of oscillation. Now we can create a table, something like, okay, that if we write n, t, and theta, and we want to find out the nature of oscillation, what we'll get? Okay, let's see. So it will be, now here n is of different integer values. So when n equal to 0, what happens? It will be t is T0 by 4. Now you put t equal to T0 by 4, you will get some value what? T0 by 4, T1, it is theta 1. Theta 1 is that. So it is first mean peak or positive peak. Positive peak. Then put n equal to 1. Okay, you write n equal to 1. It will be 3 T0 by 4. You put n equal to 1. When you put n equal to 1, it will be 2n plus 1 by 2. So it is 3 pi by 4. 3 T0 by 4 ultimately. So it will be theta 2. Theta 2. So it is second peak, or it is actually a negative peak. Then for n equal to 2, it is 5 T0 by 4. Theta 3. So it is third or a positive peak. It's a peak. This way it will come. Okay, so it is observed that the deflection gradually reduces with the passage of time. So some decrement in oscillation is there. Okay, we call it the logarithmic decrement. So a logarithmic, you know already this term, logarithmic decrement. Lambda, it is defined as ln maximum deflection minus steady state deflection divided by steady state deflection minus next maximum deflection. Next maximum means it is actually minimum. Just 1 minute. Just. Just 1 minute. Something went wrong. Yes. Okay. Actually, there is some uneven light, and that's why suddenly it is becoming dark. Okay. I am showing you this way. So today I am in a actually new place. That's why things are not yet organized fully. From next class, I think there will be no problem. So it is the
স্যার একটু জুম করবেন, মানে অনেকটা দূরে চলে গেছে ক্যামেরাটা আসলে। আর একটু কম। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, এবার ঠিক আছে। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে স্যার এবার।
okay. So our maximum deflection is theta 1, and next maximum is theta 2, which is negative, lower than steady state value. Steady state value is 0. So it is ultimately is, we can write it is ln is theta 1 minus theta f. In general, I am writing first, and theta f minus theta 2. Okay. Here theta f equal to 0, the steady state value for the ballistic galvanometer. So it is ultimately ln theta 1 by minus theta 2. That is the value of lambda. Okay. So its equation number, better I write, give some number. It is number 6, I think. Yes, number 6. Now we know what is our equation theta t. It is aq e to the power minus delta omega nt sine omega nt. So that is known already. Okay. So at n equal to 0 or t equal to t0 by 4. From the table we know n equal to 0 and t equal to 0 by 4. So what we are getting? Okay. We get the expression of theta t. So our theta t0 by 4, which is also called theta 1, is equal to aq e to the power minus delta omega n t0 by 4 sine omega n t0 by 4. So if you put omega n equal to 2 pi by t0, finally we get our theta 1 equal to, some problem is there. Okay. There is a shadow of some grill is coming. Actually, I could not assess it earlier because today from morning there was no sun at all. Suddenly the sun rises and now I feel the difference. So theta 1 equal to aq e to the power minus pi delta by 2. This one, theta 1. So it's equation number then 7 for theta 1. Similarly, at n equal to 1 or t equal to 3 t0 by 4, we can write theta t0 by 4 equal to theta 2 equal to, now you put this thing, you will get it is coming as aq can be proved e to the power minus 3 pi delta by 2. So it is equation number 8 therefore. Okay, so we know the expression of theta 1 and theta 2. Now in the expression of logarithmic damping, that is equation 6, we can put this value of theta 1 and theta 2 and finally we get lambda. I write it in the next page, page number 5. So page number 5, so it will be, therefore our lambda equal to ln minus theta 1 by theta 2, which is equation number 6. Reference 6, equation number 6. Okay. So ln minus, now theta 1 is what? aq e to the power minus pi delta by 2 and theta 2 is minus aq e to the power minus 3 pi delta by 2. That one. So finally, if we simplify, we'll get lambda equal to pi delta. So it is relation number how much? It is number 9. Note one thing that the expression of logarithmic damping in a PMMC instrument, normal PMMC underdamped instrument, and that in ballistic galvanometer are not same, they are different. So I write note, expression of lambda is different here. Previously we got a different expression. Sometimes we don't notice it. Okay. So it can be proved that similarly, okay, by noting the expressions of theta 3, theta 4, theta 5, in general theta n minus 1 and theta n, we can prove that our lambda, we can prove that lambda equal to ln theta 1 by minus theta 2 equal to ln minus theta 2 by theta 3 equal to ln theta 3 by minus theta 4 equal to ln minus theta n minus 1 by theta n. That is the previous deflection by next deflection, present deflection, this way. That is the ratio of two successive deflection. Ratio of two successive deflection, any two. So considering the magnitude of deflections, what we can write? We can write mod of theta 1 by theta 2 equal to mod of theta 2 by theta 3 equal to mod of theta 3 by theta 4 equal to, it will proceed likewise. Equal to what? It is always equal to e to the power lambda. Ln means, so it is e to the power lambda equal to the ratio. Therefore, what we can write? Theta 1 by theta 3 is what? Why I am suddenly writing theta 3? Theta 1 is the first swing and theta 3 is the third swing. It means, see the pointer. First swing, second swing, third swing. So odd numbered swings are in the same directions and all even numbered swings are in the opposite and same directions. See the figure, all odd numbered swings. Theta 1, theta 3, theta 5 and even numbered swings are in the opposite directions. Theta 2, theta 4, theta 6, this way. It is easy for us to note the swings only in one direction. We need not move our eyes in synchronism with the happening swings. So we can only note the swings in the one direction only. That's why we are considering the swings in one direction means the odd numbered deflections are noted here. So theta 1 by theta 3 equal to theta 1 by minus theta 2 into minus theta 2 by theta 3. We can write it. So it is what? It is e to the power lambda into e to the power lambda. Finally, theta 1 by theta 3 equal to e to the power 2 lambda. So it is the ratio of two successive swings. Ratio of two successive swings. So our lambda therefore is what? Half of ln theta 1 by theta 3. Lambda equal to half ln theta 1 by theta 3. So ratio of two successive swings in the same direction. So how we can assess lambda? One is from the knowledge of delta. That is the damping, that is the effective damping in the system. Pi delta is the lambda, or experimentally we can find out lambda also from the ratio of two measured value, two measured swings in the same direction. Ln theta 1 by theta 3 into half. That is also our lambda. So if we want, just by finding experimentally the value of lambda, we can find out the value of delta also. That lambda by pi will be our actual delta in the system. Okay. So once we know that, so we can find out our, so what is our theta 1 there? Once we know this thing, we can put that lambda in our expression. We are almost at the end. I go to the next page, page number 6. Now, what is our theta 1? Our theta 1 is relation number 7. AQ e to the power, AQ e to the power minus pi delta by 2 from relation 7. We already know. Okay. Then we put, so AQ e to the power minus lambda by 2. Pi delta is lambda. Okay. From that, after several steps, you will get Q equal to, Okay. Now we can put our lambda delta, the expression of delta is known, the value of, I substitute the value of A also. Finally, we get our Q is equal to coming C by G into T0 by 2 pi into theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2. This is our expression. That is one expression. So it's relation number then, I think 10. Yes, relation number 10. Okay. Note that here C is an instrument constant. It's a stiffness constant or control constant. G is the meter constant or displacement constant. T0 is the natural time period of oscillation, which is also, it is equal to 2 pi into root over C by A. Lambda equal to pi delta. So everything is constant except the first swing, theta 1. So just by noting theta 1, we can find out the value of Q, the amount of charge that has passed through the instrument coil. So it is some K into theta 1. But one problem is there, a lot of mechanical constants are involved here. C, G, all these type of things. Okay. T0 can be evaluated, the natural period of oscillation. We'll find out how much it takes time to complete one swing. Okay, complete swing in the positive and negative direction. That is our T0. So experimentally, we can find out by visual inspection from that easily. Only thing is C and G. These are the mechanical constants. We want to remove it to increase the accuracy of the system, accuracy of measurement. How? Okay. Now, to find out this, what we do now, a current, a steady current, say some IDC is allowed to pass, okay, through ballistic galvanometer. A steady state current is flowing for some amount of time. Okay, okay, for some amount of time, for which, okay, the instrument, okay, attains a steady deflection of theta f. Okay, so you apply some, then when we apply some steady current, some steady deflection, theta f will be there. Therefore, we can write C into theta f equal to G into I. Under steady state condition, we know TC equal to TD. Okay, so ultimately C theta f equal to IDC actually, IDC. So we can write C by G equal to, okay, IDC by theta f. So we can put it, therefore our Q equal to IDC by theta f into T0 by 2 pi, just C by G is replaced here. Okay. Then theta 1 into 1 plus lambda by 2, or we can write Q equal to kg into theta 1. This is our equation number 11, where what is kg? Kg equal to kg is IDC by theta f into T0 by 2 pi into 1 plus lambda by 2. Clear? That expression. And lambda equal to half of ln theta 1 by theta 3. So this expression, it is 11, and that expression is 12. Okay. So note that these two are the equations, or these three are the important things. So we need to know first the logarithmic decrement experimentally. We'll find out the first swing and third swing. From that we can get lambda. Once we get lambda, we need not calculate it over and over again, because it is a one instrument constant. It is fixed for a given system. Lambda equal to pi delta, and delta is equal to the damping of the system, which is fixed for that particular instrument. So once we calculate the lambda 1, we need not calculate it every time. Okay, we can use it for long until the instrument characteristics change due to weathering, aging, malhandling, vibration, shock, or any personal errors. Then we need to find out lambda again after a long time. So lambda is a constant quantity and all other things are constant. So kg is a constant. It is the ballistic galvanometer constant. Okay. What is the unit of kg? It is the charge coulomb per unit, degree or per unit radian. Normally per unit radian we may express it that way. So kg is not containing any mechanical constant. It is not containing any mechanical things. It is just electrical things, and from visual inspection also you can find out T0 from visual inspection. Okay. So ultimately for a ballistic galvanometer, it is found that the first swing of oscillation is proportional to, or the charge passing through the coil is proportional to the first swing of oscillation. But note that it must be a transient charge, a charge flowing through a short while during which no deflection of the instrument will begin. If that condition is satisfied, we can use ballistic galvanometer to measure a short duration charge. I want to conclude this with today with this particular thing. Obviously, we'll solve some problems. Don't worry. Okay. So then we'll take some class if possible tomorrow. I'll talk to you. What's about your schedule tomorrow? কাল কি আছে তোমাদের? ফাঁকা আছো?
কখন স্যার, কোন সময়টা?
কোন সময় আমি আসলে সেটাই, তোমরা কখন ফাঁকা আমি আসলে আমার অন্য শিডিউল গুলো না দেখে এক্ষুনি বলতে পারছি না।
তাহলে স্যার আমি আপনাকে ফোন করে নিচ্ছি একটু পরে।
ফোন করতে পারো, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ করতে পারো, যা খুশি,
আচ্ছা স্যার।
কোনো অসুবিধা নেই।
আচ্ছা।
হ্যাঁ, আমিও তোমাদের জানিয়ে দিচ্ছি যে কখন সম্ভব। ওই
হ্যাঁ।
অহনের সঙ্গে আমার যে চালাচালি চলতে থাকে, মেসেজ চালাচালি চলবে, এটা পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি সেটি।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
ওকে,
হ্যাঁ।
হ্যাঁ, থ্যাংক ইউ।